Brandon Marcello joins us, 24/7 Sports. He knows I keep up with the countdown, 142 days until week 0. But Brandon, just 102 days until we're in Nashville, Tennessee for SEC Media Days. That's got to put a smile on that always serious-looking face of yours that will be in the Music City in almost 100 days.
Forgot it was in Nashville this year.
Yeah.
About that.
Yeah, brand new spot there.
You don't have your hotel yet? Oh, Brandon.
Nope.
That's always easy in Nashville, finding hotel rooms at an affordable price.
I mean, you'll be fighting all the bachelorette parties to try to get a room, man.
Not a bad thing to fight bachelorette parties.
Hey, as we get ready to head towards a college football season, we've got spring games going on here in our state already, and Hugh Freeze is down there. And we have joked almost every time we've played a Hugh Freeze soundbite at how he is trying to sort of tap down any expectations, not just for the spring game, but as they move towards the next year. And, Lance, who called maybe 7 wins last year, he is saying, I don't know, I just feel like this team's going to win 8 games. How important is it for Hugh Freeze, you think, in his first year to tap down expectations?
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing he does. You got to go back to his first year at Ole Miss when they hadn't won an SEC game before he got there, and I don't know how many games. And he came in there, was like, yeah, I just want to win an SEC game. Let's not talk about bowl games. I don't even know if we're going to get to that. And, of course, they got to a bowl game and won one, and he was the success story in the SEC that year. And he's kind of doing the same thing this year. I went down there to Auburn a few weeks ago and spent some time with them, and, he was trying to, hammer down expectations a little bit. But then you talk to the other coaches and some of the people around the program, and it's like, well, this offensive line that they've built and brought in already, it's already better than it was last year, even 2 years ago. So we're going to be better up front. And now we're just trying to get some other guys around. And, the schedule is what it is. It's very difficult. But if I was an Auburn fan, I'd be sitting there expecting to get to a bowl game and seeing improvement all across the field and in all facets compared to what they saw last season. And, I think that getting to that is a realistic goal and one that everybody should be shooting for there at Auburn this year.
In Tuscaloosa, you spent some time in your time covering Auburn with Kevin Steele. He's been around the game a long time. So many people focus on the Tommy Rees hire. I found that Kevin Steele hire so fascinating. Your expectation of Alabama's defense under Kevin Steele is what?
They'll be pretty good. They'll be top 15 this year. It was disappointing what he did at Miami this past year. Obviously, I mean, giving up, 40 plus points and losing to Middle Tennessee and the way they did that. But, you see Kevin Steele throughout his career, what he does is he does a good job of building a roster on defense and getting them going and developing them over year 2, year 3, year 4. And Bama fans don't have the patience for that, but the fact of the matter is he's got more talent at Alabama on defense than he did, obviously, at Miami last year. So they should be pretty respectable defensively this year, but I think by year 2 and year 3, that's when you'll be able to kind of see that actual Kevin Steele stamp on that defense.
We've never, ever, ever, ever had a team win 3 national championships in a row. Georgia gets that chance. How much of the offseason will we spend talking about that storyline? I mean, it's got to be a big deal, right, that they're even in pursuit of that?
Yeah, I think we will talk about it a lot. And you're already hearing Kirby Smart this spring talking about how he's trying to fight complacency and how he's had to get a couple of leaders on that team to kind of rally those guys around and get them to focus a little bit more. I do think that will be a big storyline going into next year, this upcoming season for everybody. And whether Georgia can do that, I think Georgia is still the most talented roster in college football. They've got what it takes to win a national championship once again, despite replacing their quarterback. And especially in the SEC this year, where you look around the league, to me, at least on paper right now, Georgia's challengers are Bama, LSU, and then maybe a surprise would be Texas A&M. Those next best 2 or 3 teams are all in the SEC West. And so Georgia's in a spot to make the SEC championship game once again. And if you win that, history shows you're going to make it to the playoff, obviously. So Georgia, expectations are what they are, but the expectations for Georgia fans should still be getting to the college football playoff, which is just nuts to think. But they've built that roster in such a way that they should be in a position to get there again. Once again,
Brandon, one more thing on Georgia real quick, because I have already, just with our audience, already seen this about the Bulldogs. Brandon Marcello is with us. 24/7 Sports at B Marcello on Twitter is where you follow him, and on all social media does a great job of videos and all of that at B Marcello. He's on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline. They are going to get dinged by fans and probably members of the media all offseason for this upcoming schedule. But the point I made earlier, Brandon, there are 9 games they have zero control of on that schedule. 9. The conference games plus Georgia Tech. They're going to play those every year. And then they had Oklahoma, and the SEC stepped in and asked them to drop that game because of the future return date. I don't know what – they're going to get dinged all year, and I know nothing I could say is going to stop that. But when you think of it in those terms, I don't know what else they could do about that schedule.
Now, they can't do anything about it. But again, fans and people like me, sometimes we don't like context in our arguments. We don't want to know the truth. We just want to know what our emotions tell us. No, but their schedule is easy. They should be favored in every single game. They should win every single game. And but they got to maintain that focus. Again, when Kirby Smart's talking about complacency coming through the program, I think that can creep in when they will be hearing that type of talk at media days and forward that, hey, your schedule's really weak. You guys should win these games. And, Georgia didn't schedule tough enough or whatever. Context doesn't matter with everything. But you're still an SEC team. You win your games, you should be in the playoff. That no matter who's on your schedule. That's just how it goes.
Paul Feinbaum very well. I remember some stories, I think they were mostly in the 80s, maybe early 90s. After every Iron Bowl, he would write a column about how the power in the state has shifted, or this team extended, it was shifting powers. In the Ohio State-Michigan rivalry right now, in their pursuit for their next championship, where's that power right now? Did Ohio State grab it back a little bit by the way they played Georgia? Is it Michigan? Ohio State's recruiting is going good. Where do you have that balance of power right now in that rivalry?
Oh, it's on Michigan's side right now, and I think Ohio State fans will tell you that that's not the case. We're getting it back. Look at our recruiting. Look at what we got. Look at the players we got coming back. Look at all these receivers. But, yeah, you've had those receivers the last 2 years, and you've lost in a big way to Michigan both times you've played them. Michigan's recruiting, I don't think, is ever really going to be top 2 or top 3 because Jim Harbaugh does not recruit that way based off the type of talent he's looking for. But they're getting the guys they want at Michigan. They just got the quarterback they wanted. And Michigan's rolling along the hot board, so to speak, when they look up and down the recruits that they want. They're getting the recruits that they want, and they've been to the playoff 2 straight years, and they've beaten the heck out of Ohio State both years, both home and on the road. The power has shifted to Michigan. And I think any outside observer would tell you that. And if you actually look at what's happening on those campuses, that's the case. And here's the other thing. If Ohio State's losing to Michigan now, when Ohio State has had, I would think, unquestionably the best receiver room in college football the last 2 years, and once again this upcoming year, and you're still losing to them, and you had C.J. Stroud on your campus, look out. What's the future hold once Michigan gets the type of quarterback that they've been wanting, and then they continue to build the depth that they've been building on the recruiting trail? I think the power is in the Wolverines meeting rooms there in Ann Arbor.
And you can see that quarterback they think of the future there at 24/7 Sports, a big pickup and a story about how he's starting maybe to reach out to some Ohio State commitments to try to help that recruiting class. All that with Brandon there at 24/7 Sports. Just because you take a step forward 1 year in 2022, it doesn't mean you're going to continue forward movement in 2023. It seems like everyone is automatic that Washington, who took a big step forward last year, is going to continue to move up, that Tennessee took a big step forward last year, that Tennessee is going to continue to move up. Those are sort of 2 teams I've circled as Well, hold on. I want to see it to believe it. If they have the same type or better years this year, where are you on those two big step forward programs, Washington and Tennessee, from last year?
Washington's schedule is going to be difficult for them just because of the home and road type of matchups that they've got this upcoming year. But their defense, especially in the secondary, should be better than it was last year. And you got Michael Penix coming back at quarterback. We all know they could score points, and he had the best yardage of any quarterback in the country last year. But what kind of held them back in some games was that defensive secondary, and they should be better there. But the issue is, once again, is the context is that their schedule might be a little bit more difficult this upcoming year. Whereas with Tennessee, you look at that and you go, is quarterback going to take a little bit of drop off? I do think it will. I do think they'll take like a half step back. They just will. They're going to have to. They're not going to be as accurate there. But Josh Heupel gets that offense rolling no matter who the quarterback is throughout his coaching career, whether it was at Mizzou or UCF and now at Tennessee. But that SEC schedule is going to be tough no matter what. You got South Carolina on the rise, obviously. You still got Georgia. I don't know what to expect with Florida this year. But I think that when you compare those two, Washington, Tennessee, Washington probably has the better chance of maintaining that type of success. When I talk about that type of success, I'm talking about double-digit wins and contending for a Pac-12 spot in the Pac-12 championship.
Yeah, in Tennessee, I'm reading a lot of these draft analysts. I don't know if this is a revelation to them or if they're just getting around to writing about Hendon Hooker's arm strength. But apparently in all the workouts, everybody's like, man, this guy's arm strength was a lot better than we thought. I know it seemed like he was just throwing to wide open guys all the time because of that offensive scheme.
Well, he was in Alabama. He had to dial it back to not overthrow him because there was nobody around him.
But I think what everybody's realizing, this guy's got some pretty good arm strength.
Yeah, I mean, just go look at YouTube and social media, some of the videos of him throwing a ball from his knees and how far he could throw it. We all knew he had that big arm talent. I think what was surprising a little bit was just how accurate he was at times with the deep ball. That was kind of the knock on him going into this past season. And I think Josh Heupel and co there did a good job of scheming around that, hiding some of those weaknesses. And, he's going to be I'll be interested to see what he's doing in 3 years with the NFL, where exactly he's standing in with that. But, yeah, it is interesting that some of these scouts and everybody go, he's got amazing arm talent. Just go look on his social media the last few years. We've always known he's had a rocket of an arm. It's just been trying to corral that and make it more accurate.
All right, he is Brandon Marcello at B Marcello. 24/7 Sports is where you can follow him at B Marcello on Twitter. But follow him on all social media. He does a great job of college football, a lot of video content, things like that you can find with Brandon there. But start on Twitter at B Marcello. Brandon, it is always fun talking football with you. We greatly appreciate the time as always.
All right, see you guys.
All right, buddy, take care.
In Nashville in 102 days.
We'll talk to Brandon before Nashville, I hope.
Hey, SEC spring meetings are coming up.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Another trip. Let's take another trip.
Let's do it.
All right, thank you, Brandon. Have a great weekend.